here we go, continuing. Quis ergo mirator. So, who therefore can be amazed or wonder at that with these habits or customs or principles, and with this valor of its military, the Roman people to have been the victors. In one bello Tarentino, in one war with these Tarentine peoples, inside of quadriennium, this part here at the end of the year, and the first part's 4, so within 4 years, the maximum part of Italy, the greater part of Italy, the most fortissimus gentes, the most bravest races, the most opulentissima urbs, the most opulent cities, and the most uberimus regions, the most luscious or something like that regions, to have subjugated the Roman people. Subjugated. Aut quid, or what? Adio. There's no ut, so it just means exactly or certainly or something. Or what could superet fidem? What could go over trust or belief? What would go beyond that? Then, if in the principia of the war, in the beginning of the war, with its exitu, with its outcome or the end, if you compare it. So certainly, within 4 years they've done this, and if especially when you compared the beginning of the war, where they had losses, with the outcome where they now have subjugated all of that in 4 years. The victor in the primo prolio in the first battle was Pyrrhus. Tota treme Campania. Looks like with all of Campania trembling, these populatus means it's been devastated or ravaged. Lirum, I think that was a river, wasn't it? And Fregelus, probably another river. The almost captured city prospects it. It looked out from the Praestiniarche, which is the citadel. You could see the almost captured city, and from the 20th Lepidide, Lepid is the milestone, from the 20th 20-mile mark. I suppose we have in kilometres and miles that we still have signposts, but they had a 20-mile post there. Oculars are eyes, so the eyes of the trepidatious, trembling citizens, it filled the eyes, because the eyes is in the accusative, filled it with fuma, which is smoke, and pulvere and dust. So, if you're looking at it from 20 miles away, you could see all this smoke and dust filling up. And let me see trepidatious up here. We have 2 words for trembling. Eodam looks ablative or dative. This must be Pyrrhus. The same. Posterior after. Bis means twice. He's been exutoed. He's been driven out from his camp, it looks like. So twice he's been driven from his camp. Twice with the Sorchios, twice with wounds. And into his Greece, in with the accusative, into his Greece, across the sea, trans mare and the land. This is in the same case here. He's fugata, so he's fled. The peace and rest, and such spoils. Day is the preposition. Take it as from such opulent races. So tanta is an amount, and tot means the same amount, sort of thing. So the peace and rest, and so much spoils from so many opulent races, that Rome wasn't capacious. It didn't have enough capacity for its own victory. Couldn't hold its own victory, maybe, like that. There was so much opulent spoils. Nec enim. For neither, temere usually means rash, but it's one of these multiple word things. When it has a negative, it means hardly ever. So for hardly ever did any more beautiful come into the city, or more speciosa, or better looking, and here's the ulus. It's a triumph, and ulus is used with negatives usually as well. So never or hardly ever did any more beautiful and handsome sort of triumph enter into the city. That would be Rome as well. Ante hunc diem. Before this day, nothing besides nil prota, pecora volscorum. That's the flock animals of the Volscorums, the Gregs, the Sabines, the flocks of the Sabines. Carpenta, is that a 4-wheeled wagon or something? Of the Gauls, the broken arms Samnites, you would have seen, Videses. Tumsi. Then, if you to Aspicere, if you were to look at the captives, there were Molossi, Thessalians, Macedones, Bruttius. Looks like we're going into the singular now. Bruttians, the Pulians, Lycians, and if the Pompon procession, you would have seen aurum, gold, purple, a signa tabula. I'll put a comma in there because it's probably separate. That'd be a signa in this case would be statues. Tabulae is probably painted delicacies or luxuries of the Tarentine people. Sed nihil libentius, but nothing more freely did the Roman people expexit. It's probably more pleasurable or something. Did they see than those things which they had feared. The belluas, that's those usually a monster, but here it was the elephants with their little turrets. Like a horse has a saddle, the elephants had little canopies with people on them, etc., which, not without their sense of captivitas, with ablative absolute, with a submissus servibus, with their lowered necks, they were following, as the NT for plural, the victorious horses. And then we go into the next chapter. Chapter 14. Soon Italy had peace. And omnis is another adjective. Italy's a female, so it has the is, only neuters take the e. For what? Post to Tarentinum, who would dare? Except that ultras of their own accord or further. It looks like further was pleasing or decided for the Romans, which takes the infinitive, to persecute the allies. The Sokis are the allies of the enemies. So people who had sided with their enemies, they decided furthermore to persecute them. Domitai ergo picentes. So they were domesticated, dominated, subdued, and the head of the race, that would be their city, Asculum, another ablative, with Sempronius as the general. Looks like they had dominated, they defeated these people. That would be the supine, which is passive, as you know. Which, into the proleum, while the battle was going on, the campus, the plain, was trembling, so it was an earthquake, and it was decided, another passive here, they promised this Diem as a goddess, and here's a proper name, Tellurum, the goddess Tellurum. I guess if the earth would stop shaking, they promised they promised it with an aid with a temple. So the Romans won. 15. Salentines were added to the defeated Picentibus people, and the head of the region, Brundisium, so capital of that region, with its Inclito Porto, or more of a Y person instead of an I, with its famous port, with the Roman general Amatilius was in charge when they added these areas to the Picts. So the Salentines and Brundisium, these are all added to this. And in so in the Curtomine, and in the contest, the pretium of victory, the price of the victory, was a temple. So they're making more promises to gods. For the god Sibi himself, Pales Pastoria. Pastoria is like of the countryside. Pales, god or goddess, whatever it is. So another ultra further was demanded. So this god demanded a temple. I'm not sure who was speaking to the god, but that's what the god demanded. Okay, so Pales. There's a feast of Pales, the tutelary deity of sheep and herds, which has a feast on the 21st of April. Okay. What are we up to now? XVI 16. Postremi, this is the last to venerate, the last to come into fidem. It usually means come into protection of or under the control of. So the last of the Italians to come under Roman sway were the Volsines, the most opulentissimi of the Etruscans. So they're blessed with resources and wealth. They were present participating. They were imploring opem. They were asking for help against the slaves, which Quondam once upon a time had been suos, had been their slaves. who, when they were libertatem, who freed by this datum, they were given their freedom by their dominus, by their masters, and then onto themselves they had erexeranted and translated into themselves a republic and domina bantur. So it looks like they'd started rising up and running things for themselves. But this also, with this here guy here, with the General Fabius Gergite, he gave them punishment, or they were punished. So these were the last ones. And that's the end of that.